2022, he was on magazine covers standing next to Warren Buffett. He just run a Super Bowl ad with a real Hollywood star. He was the second biggest political donor in the entire United States, giving away millions to campaigns on both sides. At his absolute peak, he was worth $26 billion. He was 30 years old. His name was Sam Bankman-Fried. And in one single week, it all evaporated. $8 billion of customer money, simply gone. And the jury would later find that he'd been stealing it the entire time, right under everyone's nose. This is the story of how the so-called boy genius of crypto built an empire on a lie and watched the entire thing collapse in 7 days. Sam Bankman-Fried, almost everyone just called him SBF, looked absolutely nothing like a Wall Street shark. Messy curly hair, a wrinkled t-shirt and cargo shorts, always slouched deep in a beanbag chair during interviews, sometimes even playing video games while talking to journalists about billion-dollar deals. And that image wasn't an accident, it was the entire strategy. He looked like the anti-banker, an awkward math genius who'd graduated from MIT, who claimed he didn't even really care about money. He said he just wanted to make a fortune so he could give almost all of it away to charity. Reporters loved him, investors loved him, politicians loved him. He seemed like proof that crypto could finally be trustworthy, responsible, boring even. Exactly the kind of person you'd hand your life savings to. In 2019, he launched a cryptocurrency exchange called FTX, a platform where people could buy, sell, and trade digital currencies. It exploded almost instantly. Within just 3 years, FTX had become the third largest crypto exchange on the entire planet, valued at over $32 billion. Sequoia Capital invested, celebrities endorsed it. He even bought the naming rights to an NBA arena in Miami. But there was a second company sitting quietly behind the scenes, a private trading firm called Alameda Research, which Bankman-Fried had founded years earlier and still controlled. And it was the relationship between those two companies that turned out to be the entire crime. Here's exactly what prosecutors proved in court. When customers deposited money onto FTX, they believed, because Bankman-Fried told them over and over publicly, that their funds were being kept completely safe, sitting untouched in their own accounts, ready to withdraw at any moment. That was a lie. Behind the scenes, Bankman-Fried was secretly funneling billions of dollars of that customer money directly into Alameda, his own private trading fund. Prosecutors say he used it to cover Alameda's massive trading losses, to buy luxury real estate in the Bahamas, to make huge political donations to buy influence in Washington, and to fund a long list of side investments most customers never even knew existed. He wasn't really running a bank or an exchange. He was treating other people's life savings like his own personal piggy bank while telling the entire world, right up until the final days, that everything was completely fine. At one point in 2022, when a reporter asked directly whether customer funds and company funds were being kept separate, he answered without hesitation, "Yes, of course." It wasn't true. In early November 2022, a leaked balance sheet revealed something alarming. A huge chunk of Alameda's assets weren't real cash or stable investments. They were FTX's own custom token, something the company had essentially invented out of thin air. The moment that became public, the crypto world panicked. The CEO of a rival exchange announced he'd be dumping his holdings of that same token. The price crashed, and customers, suddenly terrified, rushed to pull their money off FTX all at once, a full-blown digital bank run. And then came the moment that broke everything. There wasn't enough money left to give it back. Bankman-Fried tweeted to the entire world, "FTX is fine, assets are fine." It wasn't true. Just days later, FTX filed for bankruptcy. A company that had been worth $32 billion was worth nothing. He resigned as CEO, and in December 2022, he was arrested in the Bahamas and extradited back to New York in handcuffs to face trial. At trial, the most devastating testimony didn't come from prosecutors. It came from his own inner circle, the people who'd built FTX and Alameda by his side. Caroline Ellison, the CEO of Alameda, and his former girlfriend, took the stand and told the jury in plain terms that Bankman-Fried had directed the whole scheme. 2 other former executives also testified against him, all 3 of them having already pleaded guilty themselves. When Bankman-Fried took the stand in his own defense, He claimed he simply lost track of the numbers, that it was mismanagement, not theft. The jury didn't believe a word of it. After a 1-month trial, he was convicted on all 7 counts, including wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering. In March 2024, he was sentenced to 25 years in federal prison in order to forfeit $11 billion. The judge looked directly at him and said there was a real risk this man could do something very bad again in the future. And just a few weeks ago, an appeals court reviewed the entire case one more time and upheld every part of it, calling the evidence against him robust. But behind that $11 billion number were real people. Ordinary retail investors who'd parked their savings on FTX because Bankman-Fried had promised them again and again that their money was completely safe. One victim wrote directly to the judge before sentencing, "My whole life has been destroyed." Parents who'd been saving for their children's future watched it disappear in a single week with absolutely no warning at all. That's the part most headlines skip past. This wasn't just a number on a balance sheet or a stock ticker turning red. It was thousands of ordinary people who trusted the wrong face, a face that had been carefully built, image by image, to look like the one person in crypto you could actually trust. So let's pull this all back together. A 30-year-old with messy hair and a beanbag chair built one of the largest crypto exchanges on the planet and became one of the most talked about young billionaires in the world. But behind the scenes, he was secretly funneling billions of dollars of customer money into his own private trading fund to cover its losses and fund his own ambitions, all while promising publicly that every single dollar was safe. When the money ran out, so did the lie. His own team turned against him in court. He was convicted on all 7 counts, sentenced to 25 years in prison in order to repay $11 billion, a debt an appeals court just confirmed stands only a few weeks ago. The scariest part of this entire story? Almost nobody saw it coming until it was far too late. He didn't look like a con man. He looked like the good guy. And that, it turns out, is exactly how the biggest frauds in history always work. If this story hooked you, you are going to want to see how another financial mastermind pulled off something just as wild. Click the video on screen and I'll see you over there. Thanks so much for watching all the way to the end. You're a legend, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.